I know how it is to be strong because I know how it feels to be weak. I know what it feels like to turn something that others have discarded and make it sound like the coolest thing ever. Being him, being a person of power, that means that anything you do will will be special. No matter what you have done, anything that you touch turns to gold. I think that some people miss like what it really means to be strong because they it doesn't mean you're strong in every position. Not every position you'll put yourself in, but every position you put yourself in, you'll be strong because you know what makes you weak. You'll know what's at stake. You'll know what the cost is. That some people are feigning as if they're strong, like they're overcoming some hardship. Some people put themselves in situations that they might not know that they are capable of handling. That doesn't necessarily mean like you have strength, though. It might mean that you're strong, but if you do not know how to wield that strength, you could end up being a liability. Like, if you don't know that you're capable of handling this, you might not step up when you need to. Being strong is to be aware of not only your strengths, but everyone's strengths and weaknesses. Being able to be accountable for not only yourself, but for others. That's a hard thing when it comes to strength. Like something about me that I knew that I was strong because I felt like I could make an inspirational quote. No, I know that I can make an inspirational quote speaking about my private parts. I could do that. And it would actually be heartfelt. It actually will move people. At least it moved me, and I believe that others would be moved by it. Because there's not really a difficulty with strength. It you being able to speak, being able to show that authenticity always and forever. Like I don't need to be someone else's best. Like who's deciding I'm the best? If it was me compared with Superman right now, and someone asked who was the best superhero, someone might say Superman. I'll go, who is the person saying it? Is it someone who's a non-powered human? Is it someone that doesn't? What is your defining factors of being a hero, being the best hero? If simply him being there the longest, there are people who were doing things before he was. If it's doing things more efficient, who's the decider of it? Heck, I could sit there all day and say Superman's failings. You would say, oh, me, I don't have any powers. Maybe that's what makes me better than Superman. I stand on the same stage. I speak the words. He has bulletproof skin. I don't think that really makes you a hero, having something that can't affect you. I think that people try to make it sound as if it's noble, but I don't think it should. It's not really noble to have something that just you. Yeah, you play to your strengths, sure, but I don't think it's noble playing to your strength. I wouldn't sit there and say because what Superman could have done anything else. If Superman decided he was going to stay in the shadows and not speak anything, would that not have been more noble? Or if Superman decided to use that strength to fight against oppressive governments, would that not be, or even to kill or pass judgment? Or maybe he can, you know, do that to the legislative branch that makes the laws. Superman is only as great as the people who say it. The mystique of hero in a reality is that of delusion. Not that of delusion, that of fantasy. That's what it is, fantasy. To be a hero is to be a mystique, a legend that vaguely says what it was actually done. It's overestimated, it's overhyped, precisely because it's supposed to give hope. It's supposed to be something to a guideline for the next. The title of hero can never be given while alive because it never is dead in the first place. To give a title like that to a living person, and then when they die, removes any sort of accountability, any sort of humanity, and or yeah, it removes that from them. And then when they do something bad, you can't add it. You can't add it later. It's like removing my arm and then deciding, okay, maybe he should get to keep his arm. And then if I was famous for not having that arm, or all of my paintings or murals were not having the arm, and then you add the arm, then you go, that's the thing. You cannot remove, you cannot add. You are who you are and who you decide to be. No more can if you choose and feel to be broken, if you say that life is not worth living and is worthless, then I get you're right. I will not deny your perspective. People sit here and say this is a crime-filled world and it's a bad, rotten world. I say, I guess so. What's the definition of crime? If I seen a crime-filled world that has a world full of jaywalkers, I don't know. I don't think that's that. Sure, it's a world I can live in. I've seen what has been described as the most rotten, most inhumane, but I see a bit of silliness, humor, just like genuine laughs a second. I say that to be a hero, to be a person of great strength, I should say, not a hero, is to remain human, to recognize the weakness. Like, I even see weakness in myself, and because of that, I see the strength in being able to recognize myself and my own autonomy. One weakness that I'm working on currently is that I can envision lots of things, but I don't have the words or the skill or ability to show it, to present it. And then here lies a question that I have with myself. Am I the one that is supposed to present it? I had put so much responsibility on my own shoulders to do this, but never once asked, was it for me to witness it the same way everyone else does? To be strong is to recognize that you might not be able to witness the world that you create in person, but you have seen it. Do you think that every writer, no, think of every writer, every thinker, every scientist as a parent? You're trying to birth a child that will live on, that will do better, that will, show this way, this ability. You'll see how your characteristics, how your traits had forever lived on. And I say scientists are just like every player. they want to sleep with many women and many men. I guess just in the sake of this as a heterosexual male, kind of, you know, flirt, flirt with all these scientists, have these names, say how they had touched and inspired. That is me. I am flamboyant and charming. I want to be remembered as so. It's like, oh, a little bit of this, a little bit that. If he had spoken to me a bit more, I would have fallen for him. I could see how it would work. A real charmer. For in anything that I touch and anything I do, I feel good about it. Give me enough time, if it's something that excites me and something that I put time in, I know that I will get a good result. It's a confidence. It's, others might see it as arrogance, but it's not. I think that confidence, that tested confidence, shows how much trust and faith not only do I have in myself, but others who have taught me. See, I know that I can't learn these things by myself, so I have to be confident in my philosophical works because I am confident in my tutors. That is the way that I show that I am friends. I listen, I have responded. If I fail, then I ask myself, what did I do wrong? What is succession if I did I choose the wrong mentors? Did I choose the wrong people? What was it for me? Now you can always start with yourself, but then there's always um, this this part when you do an internal review and then ask yourself, okay, this didn't seem like it failed. This didn't seem like it failed. This didn't seem like it failed. When you finally, you don't want to do a diagnostic check and realize it's the worst thing. But sometimes that's the best thing. To realize it wasn't the installers, it wasn't the plumbers, it wasn't the manufacturers, it wasn't the warehouse itself, but it was the company's schematics that had sent down as the design. It was a flaw because everything is flawed in that way. That sounds terrible, but when you look at it and say, sure, it can boil down to one man's decision. But if that one man's the CEO and the boss and the company, and he says, whoops, you see it just the same way as it would have been easier if it gets brushed over. I made this mistake, I take this hit, the money gets paid out still, it gets redone, and almost like nothing happened. It's forever reminded, and now more jobs are added, more security, more breakdowns. But you recognize that if any other one made that mistake, it would have cost them their job. But if the top person made that mistake, it's tolerated. And it shows that same hierarchy in children and babies. The more people that need the more money to live a good life, those people I don't envy. I don't feel jealous. I don't feel any pain. I say if that is really what you need in order to live a good life, I guess so. And just make sure you're actually living a good life. That's what I tell the rich. Like I say, like, are you actually living that good life? I think there's so much coming to people to take away the wealth or to accomplish these things, and there's parts of me that still say it. I still adamantly have. I'm a multifaceted person, but I can recognize something that are people actually happy? The real conversation. Like, I think that there's anger, sure. Like a baby keeping you up at night, crying, moaning, and complaining. I think that, and you would be like, oh man, that baby has it easy. That baby gets to rest at home. That baby gets to drink its mother's milk. That baby gets to avoid the pain and the heat and the cold. Look at someone else. But I think that's always what weak men do. Instead of trying to actually acknowledge the problem and realizing that, hey, they might ask themselves, like a strong man might ask themselves, what really can be done? Not that, do I like it? Do I care for the situation? Is there a better situation? What really can be done? Like, that's a tough thing when you actually ask yourself that question, because it provides a way to actually have an answer. See, weak men say that there's no answers to anything, but then proceed to have, and that is the answer. Okay, you said there's no answer to anything, and it's just like, is that it? You're above it all? No, I feel like I might not be able. In the past, people might not have been able to comprehend that. In the past, people might not have been able to comprehend racism and discrimination and police brutality and abuse. I don't want to say anything that would get me. I know I'm not monetized or anything, but in the future, see, even that censorship. There's so many people in the past that could not understand these things because they could not visualize it. But the way that the world is now, that is the physical representation of it. So now that you have seen it and witnessed it, there is no excuse. There's nothing else to deny or lie to yourself. Change it. What was it before that you would have done had the situation become? Did you even think about if it would? And if you haven't, then start to do so now. A situation will not change, will not leave, will not grow to be any different. In some cases, it will stay stagnant. That's the reason why things become worse, because they stay stagnant. It's worse because it is unnecessary. It is drawn on to here, and it didn't really do anything. It has stalled humanity until eventually the blood has stopped flowing. Life is not leaking out. Life is at a standstill for us, where there is a decision to be made. Should we stall? Should we sever? Should we cut off? Should we continue to fight? All of these questions are way too much. And when anything is too much, it overloads and it needs to reboot. We are at a place where we have to ask ourselves, do we commit ourselves to doing surgery to remove the cancerous parts? Do we do a surgery and try to heal body parts and limbs that have been injured, joints? Do we take from one side and put it to the other? Or do we cut our losses? I think that society is at this point where either you make that decision or you simply pass out and possibly perish. There's a chance that maybe if we do nothing, that we survive. But that's not what I want. For I'm strong enough to say that I want to make a decision. Even if there's a possibility I could pass out and wake up and it all feel like a dream. I can wake up in heaven. I would feel a great shame if I do so. I feel like if I woke up and everything turned out all right, and I didn't feel like I did anything. I would be plagued and make myself miserable, combing over it and asking myself, what was that suffering for? It doesn't matter anymore. You don't have to suffer anymore. Does it? Everything that I am, everything that who I am, it's okay. I just become someone else. But what if it happens again? Why matter? Then just do what you did last time. Do nothing. Suffer and survive and scrape and scrounge until you don't have to do that anymore. A strong man does not let uh, the unconscious be tolerated. They demand to turn everything conscious. They demand everyone be aware, so everyone can be held accountable. They demand that life grows. Children turn into kids, and kids or babies turn into children. Children turn into kids. Kids turn into preteens and teens and adults and etc. and so on and so forth. Not to simply punish them, but to show them the pleasures, the hardships, something that all cycles of life, every emotion, every piece, not just a bit. Yeah, I know that if I have a son or a daughter or any children, they're going to hurt. I don't know in which way, but they're going to hurt. If they decide to have children on their own or decide not to at all, there is no escaping this pain. There is no escaping the reality of the situation. And that's a bit fun. Just watching someone come to whatever conclusion that they did themselves. And if you do not let people come to their decision, there will be a day where you didn't let people make those decisions. And now you don't get to see the joy. You don't get to experience the joy of watching someone make a decision elsewhere. You're always disappointed because you're always putting yourself in a position where you have to make a decision for them. A game that you always win because you know all the moves. You sit on a throne of a false god and are disappointed in everyone because they cannot challenge you. The worst thing about being a false god is that you sit upon a throne alone. It is, and I've seen false gods many times, as celebrities are of the same name. They can never be in a relationship with someone who loves them because they always pick once they have already become prominent. A billionaire, a CEO, a rich man will always pick a young, beautiful woman. And I'm just going to use a woman for this, even though sometimes it's men. But again, they always pick a young, beautiful woman to be under their arm that is not capable or comparable with them. They might be mischievous, they might be intelligent, but they'll never be enough. They will never be able to plot on that scale because they won't be allowed into those rooms. Very easy things where anyone else will say only men and only men of this age and only men who know the secret passcode. And even if you know the secret passcode, if you're not the other things, then you're not getting in. You couldn't even groom your son to get into those places because guess what? Those places wouldn't allow you to even co-sign with them. There would be men smarter than her, older and wiser, and that wouldn't do anything. So you could never have someone on par, someone equally yoked, someone who will know your jokes, know your references, know when you had felt weak and when you overcame that weakness. You will have no one who is actually a proof of that. You'll have no witnesses. You'll die as such. If you have any children that reflect your weakness, you will despise them. You will resent them because why can they overcome their weakness? But the truth is, those firstborn often reflect exactly what the person is. They're weak. They were never able to overcome their weakness the same way you weren't able to overcome the sins of a father. That I guess weak men like to play that their sons and children should not be affected by their actions. That they should not be held responsible or accountable for what their fathers had done. But the truth is everyone is held accountable for what their parents do, and that everyone's held accountable for what everyone does. And some are held to consequences heavier than others in some regard. That if the labor falls down to an individual, then it falls down to that individual. It's for you to learn that skill twice as fast to help them out, to replace them, and give them 3 times as long as the break. But it's hard to say so. It's hard because it's not done. That's the truth. To be a strong man, to be a strong person, that takes consciousness. It's even being aware that you'll die, but you'll live forever. It's hard to take that. I think that when you are near end, you are afraid, and that's not a bad thing. Why would I want to leave this earth, this world, not scared? Like there's this, I think scared does not necessarily remove the rest of the emotions. I think it actually shows and proves just how important fear and love is. At least when I was almost there at the end, I did not feel love. So I didn't really feel fear. And that's what made me afraid. I could not pass because I wasn't afraid. That wasn't good. At least it's not good nor bad. It's at least in that regard. I'll say in this regard. A part of me knew I should have gone, or I wanted to go because I had nothing left. And not even the Grim Reaper would take me in such a pitiful state. Not even afraid of death. Sure, there was many things that I was afraid of, but not that. I was indifferent. I knew that I would not feel the warmth of my mother's love, but there was something that I wanted. I said I wanted love, but I didn't know what it was. I said I wanted my father, my grandfather to be there. I wanted someone to care that I left. I thought about other people. Did they ask that similar request? And I thought, I don't think that they died as alone as you would think. I know that it seems like a hard thought, but it's asking yourself, it's asking me. I think of them. I think of them. And I am still striving when I feel bad, when I feel like something is wrong, when my teeth clench and my fist tighten. I think of them and think that how many of them could have helped me out in this situation right now? How many of them could have been a story that that could have inspired me? How many of them could have been annoying, or how many of them, who would they be in a better world? I think of them. Maybe some of them got a more peaceful way out than you would think. Maybe in their last moments it wasn't as hurtful, it wasn't as painful, and maybe in a way they felt some sort of love. Whether it was drug induced, whether it was amongst friends, or just doing something that they loved or enjoyed. In some way, I can respect that. To say that their life was nothing but filled with misery means that I knew their life at all. And I can't make that decision. I didn't know their lives. So I can't say that it was miserable or it was great. I wouldn't want to desecrate that, because if I refuse to listen or speak to someone, then I don't get to say what their life was, other than I can hope. I can hope that they, like all humans, have good and have bad times. And they died as a human. And hopefully I can avoid more humans being sick, being in poverty, being held to the rule and reign of discrimination, of racism, of abuse. That's what I think. It's hard to be a strong person. But we do not do things because they are easy, but because they are hard. At least that's why I do it. It's hard to do something and knowing that you might not get the credit for it. But I never feel bad about those things, because I look back and recognize that it's not always good to get the credit. If I didn't get the credit, I didn't get the credit. It wasn't good. Being known for something also makes the problem that everyone knows that you did it. To be the best protester, to be known around the world, is also to know that everything you would do and say is up to critique. When people are finally done praising what you have done, they will critique what you have done. They will sit there and say what you hadn't done. They will sit there and speak about what wasn't made prominent, what dumb things you did say, what dumb things you did do. How many people were performative? How many things did you set up? Even suspicion. There will be those that get to know you and they might not be able to prove what you have done, but they still feel like it was done. Maybe it's, I say that it's for the strong to accept what it is. To be able to fear and love, to have all full range of emotion. I don't want to go. I don't want to leave this life not feeling one or two or even both, love and fear. I want to love my family, and I want to fear leaving them. But I want to love the idea that I will see them again. And I want to fear that they will stay way too attached to me. I want to fear that they will not be able to live their lives if I stay. And that way I can go. I don't want to fear if they will have enough to eat. I don't want to fear where they do not have a good place to lay their head. That is not a fear that one should have. But the fear of those things that will keep you thinking into the last moments, that will kind of get you a little bit more peace and ease as you slip. Because as you slip, you kind of forget what you just asked. As you slip, as you like counting back from 10, you forget which number you're on by the time you pass out. With that being said, I am done.